his binds, but found he couldn't move. They circled him and held out sharp tools. They cut him and peeled parts of his skin, and he wanted to scream, to thrash, to kill. The little pieces of skin they took were stored away. Then they left him. A nightmare. They turned off the light and left him in the dark. All he felt was the hum of the ship at his back. He saw the faces of many in the dark, but he couldn't recognize who they were. Couldn't tell friend from foe. Could hardly remember who he was. Memories were scattered ever since he had escaped, ever since he had failed her. He saw her in the dark, too, the queen he had served. She was nothing now but a skeleton, nothing but black bones and red eyes. He had no sense of time, only keeping track of the moments when the otherkin came to study him. They would talk in front of him, in their hushed tones, looked at him, poking and prodding him. This happened several times while they flew to wherever they were taking him. Because they were taking him somewhere, that much he knew. He knew after a time they were drawing close to this unseen place, when they moved him from his immovable cage to another. A thick metal box with vents for air, dumping him inside and locking the door, shutting him away like an animal. He'd show them an animal. Whatever drug they had pumped him with was already fading. They talked and talked beside his cage, and he heard one sound repeated many times. He'd gathered in his seething silence as he listened that it was a word that meant something important. A name. Kingsway. Chapter 1. Ophilia. The day was already growing hot, and the sun had barely peeked over the jagged red mountains in the distance. There were few clouds in the sky, meaning it was going to be dry and unbearable. Just like yesterday and the day before. Only when the sun sank, and maybe an hour or two after, did it start to cool. Then quickly the night would turn freezing cold. Hardly any reprieve. It was her poor animals she worried about. She was lucky enough to live in the main house, where the temperatures were regulated, except for the family rooms where they could change it to whatever they liked. Even in the lower quarters where she stayed, it was far better than any of the outdoor pens, where they got little more than heat lights at night and fans and shade boxes in the day. Ophilia slipped outside through the side entrance, her shirt and pants billowing out from the hot breeze, thin fabric in the color of red with purple trim, the house colors. On her left arm was the patch of the spitting cat with twin daggers crossed under its chin, and 3 suns over its head, representing the 3 male heads of the family. Father and 2 sons, the crest of House Solomar. As she crossed the courtyard and the small eastern gardens, a slender red and black cat shot out from a nearby bush, almost making her trip. It hissed at her before it bolted away. Ophilia took a moment to collect herself before, carefully now, making her way to the outdoor pens. Injure one of the prized house cats, and that was 20 lashings. Kill one and you lost a hand. Disrespect one in front of a family member, and you spent a day in the glass house. She passed one of the main gates into the outer yards, nodding at the guards who talked nearby. They watched her pass but didn't nod back, as usual. Down a set of stairs, she went by the small orchard, where workers were already up in the trees, picking off the early spring crop, blood-red sunfruit the size of her palm. Passing one last smaller gate, she was in the training barracks. She didn't dare glance over at the rows of units where, beyond the barred windows and doors, the house's fighters were kept, meandering in the dark of their rooms, their cells. A few hissed at her like the cat had as she passed. Some growled deep. Others remained silent. Hendrik, the house's head trainer, wouldn't be around till midday. He always slept in, usually hungover. Only a few of the boys under his apprenticeship would bother to feed the fighters. Most times they forgot. Ophilia got up earlier than usual so that she could do the feeding and change out the water tanks. But recently she had been scolded over it and was forced to stop. Hendrik liked using her for help, but only when he wanted it.